Hi everyone. So I hope you people are fine, doing well, and preparing hard for UPSC examination. So in my series of basics about UPSC, in this video lesson, I'm going to tell you about a very crucial decision, that is how to choose optional paper in UPSC. Now I have divided this series into three parts. In the first part, I will tell you some basics knowledge about this optional subject. Then I will tell you 10 prominent factors that you should keep in your mind while selecting an option. Then in the third part, I will tell you what are the steps that you need to take while selecting this optional paper. So let us see some basics about this optional paper. So basically you people are aware about a stage that is called mains stage, not GS mains but mains stage. In this stage we have four papers for GS general studies. Two papers are there for optional, one paper for essay, then we have paper for English, and then we have paper for Indian language. So you can see that there are two papers for optional paper, and since each paper is of 250 marks, it means that you have to face 500 marks in this optional paper, and 500 marks is a huge marks in terms of proportion, gravity and weightage if we take overall marking scheme of this mains examination. Also one more factor is there, that the syllabus of optional subject is certain, the syllabus of optional subject is defined, and that is why you can have a kind of edge, or you can have a command over the optional paper, and that level of command is not possible in the papers of GS, because the papers of GS, they are a kind of uncertain paper. Uncertainty is more there in GS paper in comparison to optional paper. Now, these are the optional papers which you can see on the screen. Out of these optional paper, we have to select any one optional paper. And there are optional papers like PSIR, psychology, philosophy, then we have geography, sociology. So these optional papers are little more popular, that is PSIR, then PubMed, geography, sociology. These options are more popular, but the data shows that the aspirants take almost all of these optional paper that you can see on the screen. Now let us see some relevant facts that you need to know before choosing an optional subject. The first point is that the question paper will be in English and Hindi. That means if you choose an optional paper, say mathematics or philosophy, then you will find the question paper in English also and Hindi also. Now, second fact is that you have the liberty to attempt the question paper of this optional paper in English, even if you are attempting other papers in other medium. For example, if you are attempting GS paper in Marathi medium, then also you have the liberty to attempt optional paper in English medium. The third fact that you need to know is that any aspirant can go for any kind of optional. That means if you are a doctor, you can go for law optional. If you are a lawyer, you can go for medical science optional. There is no restrictions as such, and doesn't matter from which graduation stream you are, you have the liberty to choose any of the optional paper. Now, previously in UPSC, there used to be two optional subjects, but with the new reforms now, we have to choose only one optional paper in our UPSC, and one optional paper itself is divided into two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Then let us see how difficult is the syllabus of this optional paper. Then what UPSC writes, that the scope of the syllabus for optional paper is broadly of the honors level, that is a level higher than the bachelor's degree and lower than the master's degree. In the case of engineering, medical science and law, the level corresponds to the bachelor's degree. So you can see that the difficulty level of optional paper is more in comparison to GS paper, and UPSC clearly writes that the paper will go higher than that of your graduation level. In fact, if you see the experience of past year papers, then you will find that many question papers in optional paper touch even the level of, we can say, PhD research and all, and that is why optional paper is quite deep in terms of depth of syllabus. So now let us see one more thing about optional subject, that there are some myths that go around these optional subjects. Now, what are the myths? The first myth is that some optionals are good and some optionals are bad. Good or bad in what sense? Good or bad sense? In bad sense in terms of scoring. So people say that XYZ optional is very scoring and ABC optional is not so scoring. So this is nothing more than a myth. I will just prove it how in my next subsequent slides. And then again, there is a myth that UPSC purposefully targets some of the optional paper. That means this year UPSC has targeted XYZ optional paper. Next year UPSC will target another paper, and so I have seen that the aspirant wastes so much of time just in doing research that which is that optional paper which will be targeted by UPSC next year. So these all are nothing but these all are we can say acute myth, and that has no relation with reality or fact. Now let us see the optional papers of some of the toppers, okay, past year toppers. So first is Gaurav Agarwal 2013, he was from economics. Then Ira Singhal was from geography. Tina Dabi was from political science. Nandini Kiyar was from Kannada literature. Then Anudeep Shetty was from anthropology. Then Kanish Kataria was from mathematics. Pradeep Singh, that is the latest topper, is from public administration. So you can see that the top almost all the subjects they have produced toppers, that is all India rank 1. So this proves one thing, that there is nothing like good optional or bad optional, and depending on your capability, depending on your performance, you can score in any of the subjects. In fact, you can even by taking a literature subject, you can become all India rank 1. So that's not at all an issue. Now come to the latest list of rankers, that is ranker of UPSC 2019. So these are 10 rankers of UPSC 2019 from rank 1 to rank 10. Let us see their optional papers. So Pradeep Singh from PubAd, Jatin Kishore rank 2 from economics, rank 3 Pratibha Verma from physics, rank 4 Himanshu Jain from anthropology, rank 5 from law, rank 6 from PSIR, rank 7 from mathematics, rank 8 from civil engineering, rank 9 from psychology, and rank 10 from sociology. So what does it shows? Again, it shows that toppers can be there from any optional, and again it proves, it substantiates the fact that there is nothing called good optional or bad optional. All right, now let us see one more fact. So you can see on my screen there are three toppers, and these three toppers are have qualified UPSC at very young age, and I have taken the data from latest UPSC 2019. In fact, you can watch my interview with respect to all these toppers on my YouTube channel. So first topper Mandar Patki, he is from anthropology. Then Muskan Jindal is from commerce. Shikhar Chaudhary from IIT Patna, he is from mathematics. So again, you can see that from all the optional paper you can qualify UPSC even if you are aspiring to crack this examination at very young age. Fine. Now let us come to our second part of this video session, that is what are the factors that we need to keep in our mind while choosing an optional subject. So the first factor is interest. And interest is not one of the factors, but I would say interest is the most important factor while deciding an optional paper. Why this is so? Because see, just now I told you that the scope, the domain of optional paper is higher than that of your graduation. And since the syllabus is very deep, you need to fight with the subject for your next 2 to 3 years, and that is why you should have a deep interest in that subject. Otherwise, you will feel anxiety, you will feel frustrated, you will feel de-alienation from the subject. And it is very important that you should feel yourself attached with the subject. There should be a fire within you that you want to know more and more about that subject. When you read the subject, you should not feel that you are reading the subject only to qualify UPSC paper, but you should read that subject for your extra knowledge. So interest is very, very important. And this is also important for one more factor, that it has been seen that majority of people qualify UPSC in second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt. In fact, this year in 2019, there are two rankers who have qualified UPSC in sixth attempt and ninth attempt. So imagine the situation when you have to fight with an optional paper for 5 to 6 years, and you can fight with a paper only when you have a very deep interest in that subject. Otherwise, after a few years, after 2 years, you will start feeling that this subject is not a good choice. I have taken a wrong decision, but I cannot go back because I've invested a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of money on this subject. And this will completely collapse your preparation strategy. All right. So interest should be the first factor and the topmost factor while selecting an optional paper. Second factor is overlapping with other papers. So if you see the syllabus of optional paper, then you will find that the syllabus has overlapping with some part of GS paper. For example, let us take the example of political science. So if you take the example of political science, now why I am taking the example of political science? Because I am a teacher for political science, so naturally I know more about political science. That is why it's only an example, and I am not endorsing that political science is the best subject. So if you see the example of political science, then political science is helpful in paper 2. It is helpful even in prelims examination polity. It is helpful in essay paper. It is helpful even in ethics paper. Same is true about sociology. Sociology is also very much helpful in essay paper and a topic that is called Indian society in GS mains. So PubMed also has so much overlapping with the GS paper, and I am very sure that almost all the subjects they have some overlapping with the GS paper. So this factor should be also be kept in your mind, that what is the overlapping of that paper with respect to my other papers. Then third factor is popularity of the optional paper. Now why that option should be little popular? So popularity only mean one thing, because since you have to prepare for an optional paper, you need to have very good resources. Resources in terms of coaching, in terms of a good faculty member, in terms of test series, in terms of notes, in terms of books, in terms of mentorship. And you can get these resources only and only when that optional is little popular. All right, if you go for an optional paper, say for example you choose a literature paper, then you will find that you will face difficulty in finding good books for that literature paper. You will find difficulty in finding a good teacher for that literature paper. So I'm just quoting an example here, that go for that optional which is little popular. Again, this is one of the factors and not the only factor. Then fourth factor is graduation and familiarity with that subject. So this is again very important. Go for a subject with which you are little familiar, and if you are from that subject, if you have completed that subject in your graduation, then of course you are very much familiar with that subject. And this factor is very important when you are deciding after class 12th. That means you just passed class 12th, you have started preparing for UPSC, and now you can go for that optional paper which you also want to have in your graduation. So that will synchronize your preparation for graduation also and UPSC also. For example, let us take the example of Muskan Jindal. So Muskan Jindal, rank 87 of this year, has taken commerce optional, and her graduation was also in BCom. Then Jatin Kishore, rank 2, has qualified UPSC with economics, and he is also from economics background. Then take the example of Shikhar Chaudhary. Shikhar Chaudhary is from IIT Patna, and naturally he is more familiar with mathematics, and his optional was also mathematics. So this factor can also be taken into account. Now fifth factor is post-graduation or PhD. Now what is the meaning of post-graduation or PhD? It means that there are many aspirants who decide to prepare for this examination after their graduation. And after their graduation, there are many people who wish to go for UPSC along with their post-graduation. They want to take admission in post-graduation also. Or if they are already PG, they want to go for some kind of research, PhD and all. And along with that, they have to prepare for UPSC also. So in this case, you can again go for that optional paper which you wish to do in your post graduation. Say for example you have done BA, and after BA you are going for MA in political science, MA in sociology. Then why don't you choose the same paper in your this UPSC? So again, this will help you. Then factor number 6 is career backup plan. Now there are many people who think that what if I do not qualify UPSC, and say that person is an MBBS doctor. And since if someone is an MBBS doctor and he believes that if he doesn't qualify UPSC, he is going back to the career of medical science, then naturally choosing an option like medical science will not bring him far away from the field of medical science. By choosing the option of medical science, he will be attached to the same field and his knowledge base will increase. So in a way, even if he goes back to the practice after taking few attempts in UPSC, then he will get more knowledge from the preparation of UPSC. Similarly, we can take the example of law. Say for example, someone is a lawyer and he believes that if he doesn't qualify UPSC he will go back to the law practice, then it is better to go for law option so that you will not be alienated from the field of law. You will be attached to the field of law and your knowledge base will increase. So you will not feel in the future that preparation for UPSC has wasted your year, because at the end of the day you will feel that my knowledge has enhanced. I have more knowledge now, I have more skills now, and that is why I haven't wasted my time, but I have invested my time. All right. Then the seventh factor will be alternative examinations. So there are many people who prepare for some examination along with UPSC. They target 2 to 3 examination at the same time. For example, let us take the example of Jatin Kishore, rank 2 of this year. So Jatin Kishore has cracked 2 examinations, that is Indian Economic Service and Indian Civil Services. Take the example of Shikhar Chaudhary. Shikhar Chaudhary has cracked IFS, Indian Forest Services, and Indian Civil Services both at same time. Same is the case with Chirag Jain. So these people have cracked 2 paper at the same time. And why and how come they could crack 2 paper at the same time? Because their optional paper was same in the other paper also and in this UPSC also. Say for example you are planning to crack Indian Engineering Services, so why don't you go for an optional subject of engineering so that you can crack, you can sit in the IES also and you can sit in the IES examination also. Same is with judiciary. In fact, I have seen that there are many people, many lawyers who prepare for UPSC, and after taking a few attempts in UPSC they go back to the preparation of judiciary and they crack judiciary. So by choosing law as an optional subject you can target UPSC Civil Services also and this judiciary examination also. Now the factor number 8 is mentors. Now mentors in the sense that some of your seniors, some of your teachers, someone from your neighbors, someone who has recently qualified the UPSC examination, if they are available in front of you and they are ready to guide you, they are ready to give you some kind of tips, and then you can think that I will choose that optional in which I am getting at least some kind of tips about what are the basic books, how to move, what are the basic notes, what are how to gain the resources and all. So this factor can also be taken into account. Now the factor number 9 is friends group, that is fellow aspirants. So I've seen that whenever someone starts preparing for UPSC, he come in a group. That means, say for example, you are 3 or 4 people, and you are from same school, same college, and you all are at same footing. That means your interest and all, everything is approximately same. And you have to take an optional paper, then why don't you take the same optional paper so that you all 3 to 4 people can help each other. So in this way you can save your time also and your intellect will also increase. So this factor can also be taken into account. Now the last factor is interview stage. Now this interview stage is not a very prominent factor, but again this is a factor. What is the meaning of interview stage is that the optional paper that you will choose, you will also face verbal questions in your interview stage. That means you need to know happenings of that subject around you. And so this factor is not a very prominent factor, but this factor can be taken into account. Now 2 more factors, that is length of the syllabus and dynamism. I do not count them as a factor for selection of optional. Why I am saying it so? Let us first take the example of dynamism. So if someone say that public administration or political science is very dynamic subject, then the answer to this, the counter argument is that you cannot refrain yourself from dynamism. Even if you go for an optional paper that is little static, that has less dynamism, say for example if you choose world history or a literature paper and you feel that dynamism is not that much in comparison to political science or pub ed, then you cannot say that I will not study current affairs at all, because ultimately you have to be quite updated, because you are going to appear 4 papers of GS. So since leaving current affairs or not going through current affairs is not at all an option, so why do we take that factor while selecting the optional paper? Now length of the syllabus is also a frivolous factor. Why is it so? Say for example again public administration or political science, if someone say that the syllabus of political science is quite big, then why don't you see that if syllabus of that particular subject is big, then that subject is also helping you in other parts of GS. For example, if the syllabus of political science is quite lengthy, then political science also saves you to read to give extra time for international relations. So if you choose any subject which has less syllabus, then naturally you'll also have to study international relations. So time will be more or less same, and so time is not a much substantial factor, and that is why this should not be taken into account while choosing an optional subject. Now the last part of our session, that is what are the steps that we need to take while selecting the optional papers. So the first step that you should take is read out all the optional subject that UPSC has listed. Just in front of you, keep the names of all the optional paper which are available. Now second step is strike down the subjects which you do not like at all. Now striking down is more easy in comparison to choosing something. So first of all, strike down. For example, I am a lawyer, so naturally I will not choose medical science, I will not choose mathematics. So first strike down all the subjects. So after striking down the subjects, you will feel that you are now left with say 6 to 7 optional paper. Now what you should do next, you should scan the syllabus of all the shortlisted paper subjects. Now when you scan the syllabus, then again you will get a vague idea that which is that subject in which you are feeling more comfortable. So again there will be second round of shortlisting, and say now you will be left with 3 to 4 papers in your hand. Now what you can do, you can watch the syllabus analysis videos of some faculty members or some rankers which are available on YouTube channel, and you do not think that this is wastage of time, because this is again going to be investment. So go for a proper research. So please watch some videos, some blog analysis of that particular subject of famous faculties, famous rankers, and again get an idea. So I'm very sure that after this, again you will hardly be left with 1 to 2 papers in your hand, and then you will be in a stage of confusion. Then go for past few years paper. Then actually now this step is little tedious, because since you are not comfortable with the syllabus, so past year paper will not appease you much, but at least have a look, and there is a possibility that after scanning the past year paper, again you will get more idea about that paper. Now NCERT books, what about NCERT books? So some subjects like psychology, political science, geography, how much interest you are having in that subject, that you can also measure by reading NCERT books. Say for example you are having deep interest in reading constitution at work or political theory of class 11, then you can say that yes, you are having some kind of more interest in political science. All right. So on the basis of these steps, you will be in a position to measure the depth of any optional paper, and you will start realizing that yes, this is the optional paper in which I am having little more interest. Now fix the optional paper where interest meets all other factors. That means interest should be the topmost factor, and after interest, when other factors are favorable, go for that subject, fix that subject, and start reading that subject, and do not see back, because once you fix an optional paper, then start executing how you are going to cover that optional paper, and do not think about this kind of things that I should have taken that optional, I should have taken this optional, my friends are saying that this option is not so scoring and all. Please do not think about these kind of things, and just execute your decision. So I hope the factors to decide an optional paper is very clear to you. So thank you very much, and please subscribe this channel and like the video for more such videos. Thank you very much.